Hey everybody, it's David Whiten from CodeCargo, and I'm going to give you a quick platform walkthrough for our 2026 January update. To start off, we're in our project screen where you can view all the different projects that you have inside of your organization. Remember, a project consists of a name, description, and then different repositories. So you could see here, this project has actually 15 or 16 different repos. And the whole point of a project is to create a working space for your developers. You can divide them by application, software programming languages, pretty much however you like. The next stop on our journey is building blocks. This is a major change for us. We switched to a card view for all the different building blocks. We also have building blocks for workflows and actions. You can click on any card and see additional information about it. For example, we click on this GitHub action and we see the documentation. We're also able to look at code, and using the plus sign, we can go ahead and add it to our workspace. You can see right there, this changed from 3 to 4. And I'll go remove that. You see that shifted back down. We can also go back to building blocks, look at workflows, and we can open up one of these. Let's go to end-to-end CI/CD. You see here, it's a little bit of a bigger view. So we still get the code view, but we also have the visualizer. So if you want to take a quick look at what the workflow does, this is kind of an easier way to do it for folks that don't want to read a bunch of YAML. You can choose to upload documentation if you want to. Our platform actually tells you exactly where to put it. And then in terms of compliance, we can go through compliance scoring. You can schedule another evaluation, and then you can go ahead and add it to the workspace. Next, we'll go into Service Catalog. The Service Catalog view is pretty consistent the way that we did it in our December release. The big change that we're working on is actually letting you run this on a repo by repo basis. So this is going to make the service catalog calculation much faster while still allowing for cross repo calculations, for example, for workflows. And we still support the split view, the graph view, where you can zoom in and see all the dependencies, and then the table view, where you can decide to add a bunch of different components into your workspace. The next bit is the Compliance Center. Some of you have already seen this before if you've been on the platform the last few weeks, but this is going to show you all of the different projects inside of your application organization. And then it's also on the right side of the screen going to show you all the different compliance scores for all the workflows in those projects. In particular, it's the average. And then we'll show you the changes over time. So are compliance scores getting better or are they getting worse? You can view all the different repositories that you have imported into your CodeCargo account. So we've got quite a bit in here. You can see your role within those organizations. So do you have admin? Do you have read? Do you have write? Stuff like that. The next bit goes into settings. And the biggest thing that we have here is agents. This is where you can actually create your own custom agents to do things inside of the application. And we'll go to that in a quick second. But as a quick example, we have an agent called Migrate ADO to GitHub, and this will migrate your Azure DevOps pipelines to GitHub workflows. So this is allowing you to create a custom agent, which right now serves as an additional prompt to our system prompt for our expert workflow agent. And the reason that this is important is as an architect or an admin in the application, you can go and you can create a custom agent, and then your other users of the application, once they open up a workspace and access our GenAI editor, can then go ahead and use that agent to get things done. As an example, right now I have 5 repositories in a workspace. And remember, a workspace is basically a collection of files and repositories. We allow you to manage them on this screen. So we have this ADO migration workspace that has the AKS store demo repo, it has the eShop ADO repo, and then it has a few other repositories and then files in it. We can also see the other different workspaces that we have. We can delete them, we can make other ones active. You have full control over that. You can even update the names. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the editor in this ADO migration workspace. And then what we're going to see here on the left is a file browser. So each one of these boxes with the rounded edges is a dedicated GitHub repository because our GenAI editor supports multi-repo editing for enhanced context. In the center, it's going to show you some of the components additionally that are in context. So for example, we have the specific service that we just clicked on previously, which is the order service, which is located here. So you're able to have that. Our AI knows about it. And then we can start clicking on individual pieces. For example, we have a workflow right here. We have workflows there. This workflow looked like that because these are all changes. The M means the file's been modified, but we haven't accepted it. So I can go in here and I can accept these changes if I want to, if I want. So I can go and click accept all. Now this file looks like normal. And the way that I got these changes, I won't run it now because it'll take about 10, 12 minutes to run. But what I did is I used a custom agent. So on the right side of this view is our chat window. So I can do basic things like explain what CI build test.yaml does in eShop ADO. And it'll do what general AIs are going to do, and it's going to follow the instructions and give an answer in a way that makes sense. Note that our agent here is an expert workflow agent, so it's primarily designed to work specifically on GitHub Actions workflows. And anytime you ask our agent to do something, it'll show you all the different tool calls. For example, it showed you that it is performing a read, and you're going to get exactly what it did. This is so that as a user, if you want to see what's happening under the hood, you can. But what I did to generate all of these files, you can see here there are a bunch of files with that blue M, meaning they were modified, as I actually hit this plus sign and I loaded the custom agent that I just showed you, the migrate ADO to GitHub. When I do that, I can, what I did is I can then say, hey, I want you to migrate these Azure DevOps pipelines to GitHub Actions workflows. And that's exactly what happened. These were all of the source pipelines in Azure DevOps, and then our AI agent went and it created that. The last thing that I'll show you in here is the visualizer. The visualizer we got a little taste of before in building blocks. The visualizer will basically take your GitHub Actions workflows and put it into a visual format. This is really useful for people if you're just not used to reading a couple hundred lines of YAML, or if you want a really quick explanation of what something's doing. So I can see right here, this workflow has a bunch of triggers. It will run on a push or a pull request, and I can click on that for more details. Then what it's going to do is it will run a matrix build. It'll run a matrix build and test, and then generate a summary. And we can click on here, which is a job. We can click on here, which is a step, to really get a good view of what's actually happening. Once you use our editor to make changes, you can click the button, create pull request, and you can see very clearly here, it's actually going to open a new pull request. I'll hit that button, and then you'll come to a screen where what's actually happening is we are hitting the GitHub API to make the pull request. We're using generative AI to create all of the comments and other items in there. And we give it another 5 or 10 seconds, and we'll actually just be able to link out to see that GitHub pull request in action. And we can see right here, we now have PR number 1 over there. I click that button, it's going to load GitHub, and there we go. And the integration on the pull request is completely native one-to-one with GitHub. So what that means is if we have any CI/CD pipelines or other actions that are going to run, they're going to run. So we're triggering our normal process. So what that also means is if you have GitHub Copilot or if GitHub Advanced Security or Dependabot, this is going to play really nicely with that, which is pretty cool because it doesn't interrupt your actual process. It actually makes it feel a little more streamlined. Going to go back to our application. And now I'm going to check out an individual project to see what's going on there. So at the beginning of this video, I showed you the projects screen where you can view all the different projects. Right now, we're looking at a single project. The important thing to remember is this is designed for one or more developers to basically store all of their things, be it source code, workflows, that type of stuff from your GitHub. And it creates a space for them to go and do things. For example, this is the service catalog specifically for this project. So we can see here, and I'm going to put this into graph view. We could see here, there are a bunch of different components in here. Some of these are services, some of these are pipelines, but this is basically everything that our service detection was able to discover inside your GitHub repositories. And remember that our service catalog is actually dynamically generated, meaning once you create your project and you import the different Git repos, it runs in the background. So this is 100% created by software. As a user, you do not have to go in here and build this on your own. The next bit we're going to see is guardrails. So we saw the Compliance Center before, where it showed the different compliance scores for all of the different projects. Here's what a developer is going to see. So these are all the different workflows in every single GitHub repo in this project. And we automatically score right there. Automatic scanning is enabled. We automatically score all of your pipelines. So what that means is we can look at the CI build test pipeline and we can see what is that pipeline doing right with these checks and what is it not doing well with these X's. One of the example of things that it's not doing well is it's not pinning actions to commit SHA. It is using master references or main references to different actions or workflows, and there are no job timeouts. So what we can do is we can simply copy one of these. We can add this file to our workspace, and then we could tell the AI, this workflow has a problem, go ahead and fix it, and bam, make a PR. We're good to go. We could also take a look at the repositories that are in this project. Right now it's just one, but we could add other repositories as well through this menu. The last thing that I will show you is self-service. So I'm going to go to one of our more developer-focused projects, which is DevZone, and I'm going to go to self-service. Self-service is basically a way to turn your complex GitHub Actions workflows into simple wizards or forms that people can fill out to execute. So all of these three self-service workflows that we call them are one-to-one to your GitHub environment, specifically dispatchable workflows. So when you click, for example, on run workflow, it's going to load up a quick form. So we can give a name of your repository and we can fill out all these different other parameters. Then we click run workflow. And then we're actually going to trigger a dispatchable workflow in your GitHub environment, which might call other reusable workflows, might call other actions, might call shell scripts, probably doing all of the three. It's going to run that and it's going to execute it. And by the end, this will actually go and create a new GitHub repository. So that's it. Quick 15 or so minute view of the application and all of the major functions. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is david@codecargo.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can always go to our website and submit a form request. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.